Delivery rider forced to kneel, sparking protests. Authorities deploy riot police. New coronavirus epidemic intensifies suddenly. Experts analyze 5 key features. Beiluo River experiences strongest floods since 1994. Mountain floods hit multiple regions in China. Potential second round of China-US trade war? Experts predict 2 possible outcomes. For doctors harvest and sell 51 kidneys. Chongqing students' kidneys removed after kidnapping. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Delivery rider forced to kneel, sparking protests. Authorities deploy riot police. On August 12, 2024, one security guard in Zhejiang province demanded a female delivery rider kneel before him, sparking a protest among her fellow riders. The incident occurred in Hangzhou, when a delivery rider attempting to deliver a meal to Greentown CC Century Center found her path blocked. After parking her bike, she walked through a green belt to reach the delivery point. However, as she exited, she accidentally knocked over a fence. Property security seized her bike keys, demanded 200 yuan, about $28 for damages, and forced her to kneel to retrieve her keys. The rider, concerned about delaying other pending orders, complied and knelt down. This act was photographed and circulated quickly amongst local delivery riders, leading to widespread outrage. Hundreds of riders converged at the CC Century Center, demanding an apology from the property management. Instead of apologizing, some of the security personnel further insulted the riders, calling them dogs. This insult intensified the riders' anger, prompting them to throw water bottles at the property managers and demand an apology. The situation escalated when a large contingent of police and armed forces arrived, and confrontations broke out. The riders began throwing water bottles at the police as well, intensifying the clashes. Initial reports suggested that the delivery rider forced to kneel was a female university student working a summer job. However, Hangzhou police have now identified the rider as a man named Wang Mumu. They add that the case is still under investigation and warn against the spread of misinformation. Meanwhile, major food delivery platforms Meituan and ele.me have suspended services near the CC Century Center where the incident occurred. The incident has sparked widespread online discussion, with most netizens expressing sympathy for the rider. One Weibo user commented, "Who isn't struggling for their daily meals? Kneeling down is truly a compromise to life. A late delivery order is quite serious for a delivery person. Let's understand each other." Some online comments have also been critical of the police response, calling on delivery riders to stand up for their rights. One netizen even wrote, "I talked to a friend about the delivery rider phenomenon before, and I said that one day this group will make the party state tremble. I did not expect it to happen so soon." Meanwhile, others suggested that the root cause of such conflicts lies with the Chinese Communist Party itself. One commenter questioned, "The security guard's behavior is a phenomenon, but who forced the security guard to act this way, and who gave him the courage to do so?" Another commenter drew on historical perspectives, comparing the views of Hu Shi and Lu Sun on China's societal issues. Lu Sun blamed China's backwardness on the inherent flaws of its people, while Hu Shi blamed an imperfect social system. A century later, who is more accurate? New coronavirus epidemic intensifies suddenly. Experts analyze 5 key features. As we reported in our previous newsletter, the new coronavirus epidemic is rapidly intensifying and becoming increasingly complex. The Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention has issued a new report indicating a nationwide rise in COVID-19 positivity rates among people with flu-like symptoms. The main circulating strains are Omicron variants, particularly the JN.1 and XDV series. The Guangdong CDC revealed that COVID-19 cases in the province surged from 8,246 in June to 18,384 in July, an increase of over 10,000 cases. Meanwhile, social media platform Weibo has seen a flood of posts from users testing positive for the virus again. Some describe severe symptoms like intense headaches, with comments such as, "My head is killing me," "The people I had a meeting with have similar symptoms," and "There are quite a few cases in Beijing." Others shared their distress, saying, "I tested positive the day before school starts, my world is collapsing." Despite the rising numbers, Zhang Wenhong, director of the National Center for Infectious Diseases in the Infectious Diseases Department at Huashan Hospital, has stated that while cases are on the rise, the overall trend remains somewhat lower than last year's autumn and winter peaks and is relatively stable. 5 key characteristics of the epidemic in China. Dr. Lin, a former U.S. Army officer and microbiologist, has pointed out that the situation in China is different from the rest of the world, with 5 key factors contributing to the unusual state of the pandemic in the country. First, the overall immunity of the Chinese population has significantly weakened for various reasons. Many people in China have tested positive for COVID-19 multiple times, which has damaged their immune systems. Additionally, long COVID symptoms are common, and younger people who get infected are particularly vulnerable to severe illness due to their already compromised immunity. As a result, many are experiencing fevers and require medical attention. Second, Dr. Lin said that the Chinese government has consistently concealed the true extent of the pandemic. This lack of transparency has left many people, particularly those infected in 2023 and 2024, unaware of their actual condition, leading to a diminished awareness of the need for preventive measures. Many who have tested positive multiple times mistakenly believe they are suffering from a common cold. With hospitals in many areas not conducting proper tests, public awareness has further declined. Moreover, the government's misleading claims that these symptoms are caused by other respiratory viruses have only exacerbated the situation. Third, there are growing concerns about China's inactivated vaccines. Fourth, the Chinese government has significantly underreported the number of deaths caused by the pandemic. This is especially true among the elderly with weak immune systems, many of whom may have died during previous waves. Now, the virus is spreading rapidly among younger people, which Dr. Lin sees as an indirect consequence of these earlier cover-ups. He cautions that official statistics cannot be trusted. The sharp decline in the number of participants in China's health insurance program is often attributed to dissatisfaction with reduced reimbursement rates, but Dr. Lin suggests that the real cause is likely the significant number of deaths, particularly among the elderly. Fifth, Dr. Lin brings attention to recent scandals in China's funeral industry, including reports of funeral homes collaborating with companies like Shaanxi Osterad Biomaterial Company to sell bodies and engage in other illicit activities. The rampant black market in this industry is largely driven by funeral homes seeking to profit from the large number of deaths. With the increase in corpses, these funeral homes have been utilizing them for bone transplants and other purposes. This situation indirectly reflects the true number of deaths in China, a critical social statistic that the government has consistently hidden. Dr. Lin Xiaoxu believes that this issue deserves more attention from the international community. He suggests that more Chinese citizens should urge their medical system to release more comprehensive data about the number of people who have died in hospitals. Additionally, according to him, the need for the funeral industry in China to conduct its operations with greater transparency. Beiluo River experiences strongest floods since 1994. Mountain floods hit multiple regions in China. Floods continue to wreak havoc across China this week, with flash floods reported in several regions. The Beiluo River in Shaanxi Province has seen its worst flooding in 3 decades. On the afternoon of August 11th, the first major flood peak of the year surged through Dali County on the Luo River in Shaanxi. The Zhuangtou monitoring station on the Beiluo River recorded a peak flow rate of 3,530 cubic meters per second. Compounding the crisis, the staggered release of water from reservoirs, including the Longzhou Dam, has led to widespread inundation of farmland and homes along the riverbanks. In Buda Village, Qiangbei Town, Dali County, Weinan City, Shaanxi Province, the farmland and trees on both sides of the river were completely submerged in muddy water. Some plastic greenhouses were entirely underwater, with only the tops visible. From the evening of August 8 to the 9th, heavy rainfall in Yan'an, Shaanxi, caused disasters in various locations, including Jidan, Wuqi, Gongquan, and Fuxian. Dams were breached, causing severe damage in these areas. Currently, some areas have not yet restored power. Mr. Yang, a resident of Jidan County, described the situation: the dam collapsed, and the water at Qinhuang Miaokou reached 2 or 3 meters, washing away cars and piling them up. We weren't allowed to report or even watch. The county suffered heavy losses, with underground parking lots flooded. Another resident, Ms. Wang, recounted her experience: people have been swept away, and cars have been washed into the ditch and pushed to the opening. There were people in some of the cars. It's terrifying. There was a person standing on the roof of a car in the river, drifting downstream. I don't know where they ended up. The basements of buildings are all flooded, and the foundations have collapsed. People can't go back home. Some cave dwellings have collapsed. An elderly person was found in a mud pit early this morning. Another disaster victim from Qinhuang Miaokou revealed that his house was destroyed by the flood, and the government forbade them from rescuing anything. Mr. Gao, a civilian rescuer, stated, the dam collapse caused the flood disaster, mainly in the urban area, with the deepest part of Changhui Niakou reaching 3 to 4 meters. Thousands of cars were damaged, most of them scrapped after being salvaged. We are participating in the rescue, but the government is doing nothing. In addition, areas such as Langfang, Shijiazhuang, and Qingde in Hebei, Jixin in Tianjin, and Dalian and Heludio in Liaoning also experienced heavy rain. This caused multiple vehicles to stall in the water and triggered mountain floods in some places. From August 11 to noon on Monday, August 12, mountain floods in Qingde and Xinglong led to residential houses being flooded, communication disruptions, and tourists being trapped. Potential second round of China-US trade war? Experts predict 2 possible outcomes. On August 9, former President Donald Trump told Newsweek that if re-elected, he plans to rebuild a positive relationship with the leader Xi Jinping. However, a recent Wall Street Journal report highlighted the increasing vulnerability of China's economy, with overcapacity leading to a dangerous dependence on exports. This makes China especially susceptible to the impact of Trump's proposed punitive tariffs. As China grapples with an economic crisis and overcapacity in multiple sectors, the CCP is attempting to pivot towards new quality productivity as a fresh economic driver. But this strategy poses significant risks to both the domestic and global economy. China's overproduction has triggered deflation risks and debt problems at home, while flooding global markets with cheap products has sparked international trade tensions. If former President Trump returns to the White House in November, a second round of the China-US trade war is expected to be far more intense. Mr. Trump has already stated that if he wins the upcoming presidential election, he will increase tariffs on Chinese imports to 60% or higher. Such a move would inflict much more severe damage on China's economy than during Trump's first term, as tariffs would be higher and China's economy is now more fragile. Mr. Matthew Gertkin, chief geopolitical strategist at BCA Research, warned that with China's economy in a slump, any new blows from Trump would be more damaging. The Wall Street Journal report pointed out that a surge in exports is one of the few bright spots in China's troubled economy. But with the real estate market crisis entering its third year, consumers tightening their belts, local governments facing severe financial pressure, and private sector confidence plummeting, China's reliance on manufacturing and exports has made it highly sensitive to any escalation in the China-US trade war. Mr. Patrick Zweifel, chief economist at Pictet Asset Management, estimates that if Kamala Harris is elected U.S. president and continues the Biden administration's targeted tariff policy, China's economic growth rate could decrease by 0.03 percentage points next year. However, if Trump's proposal to raise tariffs on all Chinese goods to 60% is implemented, the blow to China's economy would be far more severe, with the growth rate potentially dropping by 1.4 percentage points. Zweifel's forecast suggests that this could reduce China's economic growth rate in 2025 from an expected 4.8% to around 3.4%. UBS estimates that if the U.S. imposes a 60% tariff on goods imported from China, China's GDP growth could decrease by about 2.5 percentage points within 12 months. However, if Beijing takes countermeasures, the GDP growth reduction might be limited to 1.5 percentage points. Chinese companies are already feeling the pressure from weak demand and long-term oversupply, with producer prices falling for nearly 2 years. Nick Borst, head of China research at Seafarer Capital Partners, warned that a company with a profit margin of 5% or 6% simply cannot withstand a 60% tariff. For doctors harvest and sell 51 kidneys, Chongqing students' kidneys removed after kidnapping. China has gained worldwide notoriety as a major organ transplant country. Despite the CCP's official implementation of the regulations on human organ donation and transplantation, which strictly ban the trade of human organs, there are still frequent reports of organ trafficking. Recently, a shocking case involving an organ trafficking scandal at a prestigious hospital in Beijing was exposed. In detail, ex-user Petricor shared a video disclosing that in this case, 16 suspects, including 4 doctors, were involved in the illegal removal of kidneys from as many as 51 patients during surgeries, profiting from these illicit transactions. This has become the largest illegal organ trade case in China in recent memory. Each of the suspects received prison sentences ranging from 3.5 to 9 years, while the main offender was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Petricor commented that under the rule of the Communist Party, China continues to experience incidents of organ theft or the deliberate creation of brain death scenarios, all aimed at harvesting and selling human organs. Due to this, foreigners are increasingly reluctant to visit or do business in China, and many wealthy Chinese citizens have already fled overseas. Those who are unable to escape are left in a state of fear, silently awaiting the day they might become victims of organ harvesting. Meanwhile, another ex-user named Wanqing also posted a video detailing a case in Chongqing, where a high school sophomore named Fang Xiangxing was abducted in broad daylight by criminals and forced into a car. 3 days later, local police found Fang Xiangxing's body, which had a surgical incision, and his kidneys had been removed. Ex-user News Investigation reported another incident involving the sudden disappearance of an 18-year-old high school graduate in Wuhan. The last footage of this student, captured on surveillance cameras, shows him getting into a car with an unknown elderly man. News Investigation suggests that, barring some unforeseen circumstances, this disappearance is almost certainly linked to organ transplantation. Many netizens have expressed their fears, noting that China is becoming an increasingly terrifying place, where you never know when your organs might be stolen. Some pointed out that cases related to live organ harvesting seem to surface almost daily across the country. However, rather than cracking down on these criminals, the Chinese government appears to be using the state-controlled media to whitewash these incidents, while also suppressing those brave enough to expose the truth. One netizen even joked that since China claims to be a communist state, the people's organs naturally belong to the leaders, leaving them to live on in the leaders' bodies. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.